California Carpet Stewardship Plan. Howard.
Thanks, Ken. I'm going to invite Fareed to come up and make a presentation. In October of 2018, you can come up, Fareed. In October 2018, CalRecycle conditionally approved a new plan from CARE for the 2018 to 2022 period, but we made that contingent on CARE amending the plan to address several issues that we identified in that October item, and to submit that, how they were going to address those issues in what we're calling a Chapter 0 that would be incorporated into the beginning of the plan. The idea of Chapter 0 was to make this revision feasible in the near term without having to make corresponding changes throughout the hundreds of pages of the plan. So today we're considering whether CARE has adequately responded in this Chapter 0 to the issues that we raised in October. I'm going to just turn it over to Fareed in a minute, but I want to again thank Bob Peoples and his team for the continued work that they have done with the department. I'm not sure if Rachel's here, Rachel Palapoli and the advisory committee for all the comments that they've provided over the years. So we'll just turn it over to Fareed, who's going to summarize the key findings and make a recommendation to the director.
Thank you, Howard. Good morning. I'd like to start by giving you a brief background on the Carpet Stewardship Program. CARE began implementation of its Carpet Stewardship Program in California in July of 2011. That's about 8 years ago, and has operated under several different plans in that time. The statute initially specified an assessment of 5 cents per square yard. The assessment is currently at 35 cents per square yard, effective January 1st of this year. The graph shows the recycling rate from the start of the program up to the third quarter of 2018. As you can see, the recycling rate for Q3 of 2018 was 14.9%. By statute, CARE must meet a recycling rate of 24% by January 1, 2020. CARE's last approved Carpet Stewardship Plan ended on December 31st, 2016. Director Smithline allowed CARE to operate under the plan, under the conditions that was specified in CalRecycle's June 20th, 2017 enforcement plan. Under that enforcement plan, manufacturers could continue to operate without being subject to penalties for offering carpet for sale in California, provided that manufacturers operated according to CARE's 2011-2016 stewardship plan. The enforcement plan was updated on October 17, 2017 because AB 1158 was signed into law on June 20, 2017. And AB 1158 made changes that a stewardship organization or a manufacturer must consider in developing its plans. CARE was required to submit a carpet stewardship plan to CalRecycle by March 16, 2018. CARE did submit a plan on that date. CalRecycle reviewed the plan and disapproved it on May 15, 2018 because the plan didn't meet all the requirements of the law. CalRecycle updated its enforcement plan on June 19, 2018. Under that updated plan, CARE could submit a revised plan within 60 days so that manufacturers could continue to avoid penalties until a revised plan was submitted on August 17, 2018. Director Smithline conditionally approved CARE's 2018-2022 plan on October 16, 2018. The conditions for the plan approval were that within 60 days, CARE had to commit to conduct and provide CalRecycle an independent, detailed economic analysis to update the subsidy justification and conversion cost models and demonstrate its using California-specific data in its models and account for regional cost differences, to modify its convenience goals consistent with the results of the convenience study, to propose timeline for auditing collector sorters to ensure compliance with revised agreed upon procedures and complete audit of participating collector sorters, to establish a minimum weight of post-consumer carpet content that a product must contain on an annual basis to be considered as a product made from post-consumer carpet, and develop agreed upon procedures for carpet reuse. CARE must fulfill all of these commitments by September 1, 2019. CARE submitted its revised plan containing a new chapter referred to as Chapter 0 on December 15, 2018. In the Chapter 0, CARE committed to hire an independent firm to conduct an analysis of CARE's conversion costs and subsidy justification models to validate the accuracy of the models, including the cost of collecting, processing, and recycling of post-consumer carpet. The firm will be selected via a request for proposal process to be completed by Q1 2019, with a report delivered to CalRecycle no later than September 1, 2019. Update the conversion cost and subsidy justification models by September 1, 2019, and semi-annually thereafter, and offer recommended changes for review with CalRecycle. During the analysis of the conversion cost and subsidy justification models, CARE will look at the California versus non-California cost, along with regional cost differences within the state. Submit modification of its convenience goals that are consistent with the results of convenience study. CARE would work with its accounting firm Aprio to refine and enhance collector sorter entrepreneur related agreed upon procedures to support convenient collection and to help prevent fraud. Work with the existing and new manufacturers of product made from post-consumer carpet to establish an agreed upon minimum weight of post-consumer carpet on an annual basis for a product to be considered as product made from post-consumer carpet and thus eligible for subsidies. CARE will work with its accounting firm and solicit input from collector sorter and entrepreneurs to develop and revise agreed upon procedures for carpet reuse for both tile and broadloom carpet. CalRecycle solicited public comments on CARE's 2018-2022 revised plan, including the Chapter 0 amendments, and received 2 comments recommending disapproval of the revised plan, indicating that CARE has shown that it is unable to implement a program that satisfies the requirement of the law, and there is no tangible action outlined by CARE in its newly submitted Chapter 0 amendments. Options for the director. Option 1, approval of the plan. Option 2, disapproval of the plan. Staff determined that CARE has committed in Chapter 0 of its plan to fulfill all the requirements articulated in the October 16, 2008 request for approval by September 1, 2019. thereby satisfying the conditions for approval of its plan. Staff therefore recommends option 1, approval of the plan. That concludes my presentation. Thank you. If there are any questions.
Thanks, Fareed. We'd like to open it up for any stakeholder comments, and we have a roving mic. If you can state your name and affiliation when the mic comes to you, appreciate that.
Yeah, hello, my name is Joanne Brash. I'm with the California Product Stewardship Council. I'm also the vice chair of the advisory committee, and today I will be reading a letter from the advisory committee for the public record. The letter did have 4 votes for noes and abstentions, myself included. I would like to state that I did not support this letter because I don't think it's appropriate to elevate to full approval until the promises in Chapter 0 are made. So with that said, I will be reading the letter from the advisory committee. In the December 12th, 2018 response to the advisory committee recommendations, CARE agreed to accept 3 of the 5 motions. However, the additional discussions during a February 4th teleconference, CARE agreed to accept the remaining draft Chapter 0 advisory committee recommendations. This includes a commitment by CARE to meet periodically with the advisory committee prior to September 1st, 2019, to report progress, review draft documents, and existing models in order to maximize the acceptance of the deliverables by CalRecycle. With acceptance of the advisory committee draft Chapter 0 recommendations, the following motion was passed with a vote of 12 ayes, 2 noes, and 2 abstentions. In view of the cooperation between the advisory committee and CARE and the revised CARE responses to motion 3 and 5 of the advisory committee's November 2018 recommendations, the advisory committee recommends CalRecycle elevate its approval from conditional to final acceptance of the plan. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Joanne, and thanks for your work with the advisory committee. Other comments? Nick.
Hi, good morning. Nick Lapis with Californians Against Waste. I want to start off by saying that we were one of the entities that voted to send this letter, although very hesitantly because I think we share some of the concerns that Joanne raised as well. The commitments in Chapter 0 are great and we support those commitments. It's not totally clear that we should be at a position based on the previous history of CARE to say that we're approving the entire plan. So it's kind of a distinction of the commitments made in Chapter 0 are a great move in the right direction, but we do share Joanne's concerns as well.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, Tina in the far right, and then down there, my left and towards the front.
David Bender, Circular Polymers. Circular Polymers supports staff recommendation for the approval of the plan. We feel that certainly the commitments that were made in the revised Chapter 0 that's been delivered to CalRecycle, as well as a lot of the recent activities by CARE, especially in regards to market development, technical assistance, and everything they're doing to achieve 24% by the end of this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Heidi?
Thank you. I'm Heidi Sanborn, the director of the National Stewardship Action Council, and we were the sponsor of AB 1158, which passed in 2017, amending the original bill from 2010. I want to thank CalRecycle for your diligent oversight of this program. And we see Chapter 0 as, again, a promissory note. And we've heard these promises before, but what we're looking for is real performance. And that really, the D-Day and the line in the sand is September 1st. 9 years after this original bill passed, we've gone from 8% recycling rate to a mere 15%. That's less than 1% a year and only an increase of 7%. So green design is also a goal of the recycling program and stewardship programs, yet we have learned recently that at least one large mill is now putting a new carpet on the market as PET in the backing. And we're hearing from the recyclers there's absolutely no way they can recycle it. So we're actually going backwards on green design as far as we can tell. And we are not seeing the actions that are going to get us to 24% recycling rate by 2020 without actually implementing everything in Chapter 0 and doing a better job of green design and labeling so that we can tell what we can recycle and recycle it. So we're concerned. We're going to watch this very carefully, and we'll be here September 1st to make sure CARE submits a plan and a report that they've actually lived up to all their promises. Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. Other comments? Bob, did you want to say anything? You don't have to. We'll get your mic.
Thank you, Howard. I will just say thank you to the CalRecycle staff who have worked hard to dialogue in detail with CARE to help us get to the level of understanding that we were able to produce Chapter 0 in a way that was meaningful and met the requirements. To the CARE team that's worked so hard in the face of 2 years of uncertainty, thank you for your hard efforts because you're the reason we're here today. To the recyclers, you're the very reason the CARE does what it does. I want to thank you for hanging in there with us in the support for the last 2 years with all the ambiguity. There have been a lot of good accomplishments since the conditional approval, not the least of which is the implementation of 2 new rounds of grant cycles, which are already making a major difference. As I stand here today, there's a major test on a new market outlet for material that we hope will be successful, that'll move big pounds of material out of the state of California. I could go on, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to simply say thanks to everybody that worked so hard to get us here. We will hit 24% by the end of 2019. So thanks.
Thank you, Bob. Any other comments? Franco, if you, okay, hold on. Let us get you a microphone. Tina up in front.
Yeah, thank you. Franco Rossi with Aquafil USA and Aquafil Corporate Recycling. So Aquafil approve, recommend the approval of the plan as the advisory committee did. And I also have a question, it's more of a technical question, because now if Director Smithline is going to approve the plan, then we're all going to wait for September the 1st to see the deliverables. So what happened next in terms of the timing? Is still going to be a sort of conditional approval because still there are deliverables, and then there's going to be another round of revision, considerations. What happened next? I mean, I understand, I don't know if you can answer the question, but that would be my question. Understand what happened after September the 1st.
So a number of folks have noted the September 1st timeframe. That's a very critical timeframe. There are a number of items that were outlined in the October request for approval that CARE has made commitments to address by September 1st. We expect to get all of those deliverables by September 1st, and if not, then we will consider what other action to take. And there are a number of different kinds of actions that we could take, but I think we'll reserve further discussion on that. But September 1, submittal of those deliverables is going to be a very critical date for all of us. So. With that, I fully support staff's recommendation to go ahead and approve this Chapter 0 with the idea that this is a commitment by CARE to provide the things that are listed in the original RFA, and recommend your approval.
Thanks, Howard. Thank you, everybody. This certainly has been a process characterized by significant engagement and iteration. We find ourselves now at a point to make a decision whether to approve this 5-year plan. Obviously, I take the staff's recommendations and give them significant weight. Also listen to the stakeholders, and of course, given that I have little time, I'll take it back just for one final review, but at the moment I'm inclined to approve this plan. Just to be clear, the expectation on this stewardship organization is that they implement everything completely as outlined, as articulated in October by the deadline. So I would expect that if there's any concern on the part of the stewardship organization that they will not make that they communicate that to us as early as possible to receive our assistance if possible to help them meet that, because there won't be extensions or delays on this. They have to meet these timelines. But hearing from the organization, it sounds like they're confident that they will, which is fantastic. We want to see those recycling rates increase. So again, I'll take this back, but I'm inclined to approve this as recommended by staff. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. And I would just like to thank Fareed and Robin, Elliot and Ty,